Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Open Doors. I'm
I-
Shannon Pruitt.
I'm Lauren Douglas, and we're excited to be here.
We are very excited to be here. It's a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful October.
It's a beautiful October. I'm so excited it's October. Like it finally rained in LA like the other day, and I was like, and everybody. It was yesterday. Everyone in my family was so tired. Like, it was hilarious. So today I was like, "Guys, see, this is what the sunshine does for you." Everyone wanted to, like, take a nap and
Yeah.
overslept, and it was so funny. It was like, we'd never seen rain before.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's so warm in New York. It's crazy. Like, we haven't actually had a cold day. You were here. Like,
Yeah,
it's like
it was
summer still.
beautiful.
And so, like, it's finally starting to get a tiny bit like jacket weather. And it's like, thank God.
I know, you need jackets, you need boots. These are very important things to consider.
Exactly. I mean, that's the best. Fall is the best wardrobe.
It's the best wardrobe, and the colors this year really into, like, the burgundies and the
Hmm.
browns and, like, all the
Yes.
thing yeah, I'm, like, super fired like you're wearing right now, maybe. Is that brown or burgundy? I
Brown.
can't tell, but
Brown.
it looks great. Yeah, it's super complimentary for most skin tones. Well, you heard it here first. In case you were
What do
tuning
you
in for fashion advice, that's one there we are.
what's got you excited this week?
Um,
Or
I'm
what's on your
super
mind?
excited. Yeah, I think, I have so many things on my mind this week, but what's really exciting actually is that my twins, I think I talked about this before, but now we are just a few days away from October 18th, uh, and they are going to turn 16, and I actually am just really excited. October 16th has always sort of been a very emotional day. It's the day I went into preterm labor and kind of kicked off this very wild and wacky journey of life for me. And I think back to that day and what I didn't know, and like how far they have come, how proud I am of them, how proud I am of I'm gonna cry, our family, all the things that we've navigated together. It's been,
Mhm.
I just look at them when they are coming down the stairs, or we're just yeah, even Emma, like, I dropped her off at school this morning, and, she's at a high school, and she's a big girl, and, I talk about her like she's little because she is little cognitively,
Mhm.
she's, like, 2 years
Mhm.
old, but Quinn is he helped me move furniture, and, like, he's not, like, he's, like, so helpful, and it's just I'm just, really proud of the people they've become,
Mm.
and this year feels like a celebration of whatever that next milestone is, which terrifies me, but also, like, I'm just so excited for
Yeah.
how far we've come. So,
Well,
how about you?
congrats, that's
What's doing
awesome.
Thank
16 on the
you.
16th, the golden.
Well, they're 18, but yes,
Oh,
they'll be 15 still on the 16th. It's just the
okay.
day I went into so
Oh,
I
that's the
kept
day
them
you
in
went
for
into
2
labor.
days. Yeah, yeah,
Got it.
which
Got it.
feels more like that moment of, like, what the heck is going on, and does your, amniotic fluid smell like pee? Because 'Cause I'm not sure what's happening
Right, right, right.
when your water breaks at 4:30 in the morning. You're like, "What's
Right.
going on?"
You're like, "What just
S
happened to me?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you're screaming at, your now my ex-husband. I'm like, "What does it smell like? Google
ChatGPT
it."
it.
Yeah. Please do share your own crazy stories of your own labors with us so we can talk about them on air. What's going on with you, darling?
Oh, well, what's on my mind this week? I guess I just came home. I was visiting some family this week, and I was just thinking about how, like, I don't know, like, how lucky, kind of in the same vein, I feel to have like a close family, close friends, and just like people in your life that you care so much about and that you love to spend time with. And like, man, it just feels like really like that to me feels like wealth, and richness. And like it's like
Yeah.
having these like people that you care so much about.
Yeah. Isn't it so, I find these moments hit me, often. Like, I'm very especially in nature, like, I find when I'm in nature, like, near the ocean or in the mountains, or, like, maybe I get to the chance to go skiing and I have this, like, moment by myself where I'm, like, kinda skiing. I get, like, overwhelmed with gratitude
Mhm.
about the many blessings, that I have that are, like, part of my everyday life.
Mhm.
I feel like this really powerful, like, lightning bolt of gratitude, and when you get that, it's, like, it is so powerful, it's so reflective, and such a special moment to have, so I'm happy for you that you feeling that way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
great. Well, I think so today we're changing it up a little. We're exploring some new ways to conduct this podcast, and we would love to hear from people if you like it and how you like it and whatnot. Um, but today we're really talking about, almost like three pieces of advice that you would have for your younger self, which in this way for us, I think in the context of this podcast really presents as like, what are the open doors that maybe you didn't know or understand when you were in your 20s or in even your early 30s, and continue to evolve over time, decade by decade. Uh,
Mhm.
but that's, I think we each have three of those that we're kind of coming in with some perspective on today, and would love to hear also what other people think are words of wisdom for younger selves, as you all think about what the open doors are that maybe didn't even recognize when they were presented to you, but can see more clearly in hindsight.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me one of your lessons.
Um, One of my big lessons is uh, what they call the permanence illusion.
Mhm.
So it's this idea that we attach very tightly to the feeling that we have now or people, right? There's something called when Emma was little, I learned a lot about this through, therapy because I was so closely watching her development with all of these therapists and doctors. And there's this thing called object permanence, which is what little kids get, right? And so one of the
Mm.
first things they learn is that when mommy and daddy go away, that mommy and daddy come back. Right?
Mhm.
But that starts with a toy. It's how you play, peekaboo, or like, I'm going to hide this little bear from you and then you're going to find it, And so, but that feeling is actually what stays with you. So trauma creates feelings that make you fear that feeling again, right? Which is why it
Mm.
kind of curates a lot of our behavior that we, might exemplify in relationships later in life, right? If
Right.
you grow up in a chaotic something and then people disappear on the time, they call that abandonment issues, but or
Right.
anxious attachment, but it's really about this permanence illusion that you have. And so I think it's a very important understanding that permanence illusion, and a lot of mine are connected, I think, today, maybe even in a certain way, but like this permanence illusion that we have around, people or opportunities or jobs or, there's a lot of change happening right now. And people are this, you can be equally attached to some of the good times
Right.
and sort of believe that it will always be that way and that,
Right.
like, so that, you have this attachment to that feeling of like, oh, it's really good right now, so it'll always be this way. Or, you're having a bad day or a bad moment in time or a bad chapter or, a rough, maybe not bad, but a rough, experience. And that will also you will go through that and then there will be more good days, right? It's like when my
Mhm.
boyfriend cheated me on in college, my dad sent me a card that said, in order to see the rainbows, you must go through the rain, right? Like
Mhm.
there is some of that, but it equally exists in positive moments as it does in, challenging times. And I think I talk to a lot of friends and I have a lot of friends who are going through different things. Even myself, I'm going to go through some pretty big changes. I'm going through some pretty big changes and what I know to be true now is like all of those things will pass, right? How
Mhm.
I feel today is not how I necessarily will feel tomorrow or the next day or the
Mhm.
next day or next day, right?
Mhm.
So this opportunity to not attach so tightly to things, experiences, people, not to be detached from them, but like to just know that it's this illusion of permanence that creates sometimes like more pain than it deserves or is entitled
Mhm.
to,
Mhm.
and more fear maybe, and just to
Mhm.
know that by focusing on the next best step forward,
Yeah.
that you can both go through all the things.
Right.
So one of mine, which I feel like if I knew that when I was much younger, it might have saved me a lot of time and energy spent attached to those feelings in any way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah, it's like you feel good, it won't last. You feel bad, it won't last.
Yeah.
Like, either way, it's not gonna be it's not a feeling that's gonna stick around forever.
Yeah, but not in a I think also, like, my only caveat to it is experience all the feelings, right?
Mhm.
Like, the feelings are amazing, right? In any way, like, it can hurt like a mother, or it can feel so that lightning bolt of gratitude, right? Like, I feel those moments, but then those moments, like, dissipate, and then I just kind of go back to being like a normal human,
Mhm.
maybe feeling grateful, but not in that same, like, very visceral experience I had. So
Mhm.
all of these things are passing, but to appreciate them for the role that they're playing or the thing that they're supposed to be helping you with
Mhm.
in your life is the thing to think about,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
So,
think that
what
makes
about
tons of
you?
sense.
What's your
Yeah, I
first
think one of
thought?
my lessons was very similar to what you just ended on, which is, like, feel things all the way through. I have a tendency, especially when I was younger, to just not feel things, and then I would bury them under the rug, and it's like anything that you bury is just gonna come back threefold. And so, just feel the feelings, feel, like, the grief if you have grief, feel the
Yeah.
disappointment if you have disappointment, like, let those feelings, like, exist inside of you, um and don't shoo them away. And sometimes,
Yeah.
I'll even be talking to my husband, and I'll be like, I feel like this," and he immediately will go into, like, well, like, almost like fix it mode, or, like,
Yeah.
like rationalization mode, and I'm like, "I just need to feel the feeling. Just let me feel the feeling. Like, let it breathe for 10 minutes or 20
Yeah.
minutes or whatever it's gonna be, and then it's gonna dissipate." But, like, if you are constantly trying to keep them in check, that's when
Yeah.
I've run into problems. Or, like, I've drank too much, or I've gone out too much, or I've tried to, like, mask it with other things.
Yeah. It's so interesting, I think, because you also make a point in the way that you are talking about this, which is, um, the ability to ask for what you need,
Mhm.
right? To ask for what you need around the opportunity to, there's this book that, maybe predates you, but was available to me in my first marriage a long time ago. Uh, but called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, right? Very reputable. Probably everybody's heard of it. But there is a chapter in there about kind of how men go into fix it mode, women want to be, relate emotionally. Men go into their cave. Like, it's got all of these little, these things that we talk about very freely now, but for at the time were very like profound revelations for relationship therapy. But I think this other part is like, maybe not the thing, but is the feeling empowered and centered enough to ask for what you need
Mhm.
is a really beautiful thing that I think if you can learn that earlier in your to identify what it is that you need maybe, but also
Mhm.
to be able to ask for it is a really beautiful lesson to learn earlier in life instead of
Mhm.
instead of
Mhm.
doing all the other things or rebelling or, whatever, instead of just saying, "What is it that I think I need?" And even
Mhm.
exactly what it is to even be able to say that. I don't really know,
Mhm.
but I do need to try to figure this out and, can use your support, not necessarily you're fixing my problem.
Right, 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 exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, what's your second lesson?
Um, it's kind of related to the first, right? I think that, the I always it's funny, like, having been single and I have single friends and, now there's, like, you know, people that I've worked with and, a bunch of things and in a big change in life, right? Like, you realize, like, how quickly you can attach to people or the idea of what somebody
Mhm.
represents in your life.
Uh-huh.
And then you create expectation of that person to be a certain way to fulfill the role that you have assigned to them in your life.
Right.
Um, right? And so you're the protagonist in your own play, and then everybody else is supporting cast. And so you're trying to figure out like how they can support your protagonist mission.
Right.
Right. And so I think there's a saying that, like, people come into to your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime,
Mhm.
and I think the ability to more quickly identify or understand the energy flow that is exchanged between people allows for you to understand how and who to invest your energy in, and that it's okay because most likely if someone isn't there for the lifetime or even the season that you wanted them to be, or even the reason that you wanted them to be, most of it is not about you, right? It's about
Mhm.
that is the whole purpose, right? They're moving you forward in your journey, but it's really not, we spend a lot of time believing that everyone is thinking about us. There's like this, like there's all these studies that, people think that like people are paying so much attention to us,
Mhm.
but they're not. They're focused more
Mhm.
on themselves, right? And what's going on with them that then, is an indication of their behavior. So it's really, I think, this idea that like it's a season, it's a reason, a season, or a lifetime, but as an indicator of like as given by their energy, where people invest, you invest. And I think I let some people go in my life who invested in me and I didn't return that, right?
Okay.
And that wasn't because for maybe it was because I didn't understand that, right? But then that was the reason, right? It's to understand later maybe that like, oh, I actually was the reason this relationship didn't work. And I don't mean talking about friendships, I'm talking about all kinds of things, not just, not romantic relationships per se, but on the flip side of that, there's a very good reason why some people it was like, especially as I've gotten older, to be like, I don't feel that energy. I don't feel like I want to invest, or I don't feel like that person's investing in me on any, could be professional, could be personal, could be whatever. I don't think this is the right type of relationship for me to give my energy to. I'm going to move on from that. And that is also okay. Right.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I have not assigned you a role per se without either I'm
You
willing to
wanting
show up
it.
for it or are they
Right.
wanting it?
Right, 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 right.
And so anyway, that was a very interesting and I still observe it all the time, right? I observe it in conversations I have. I observe it in myself sometimes where I'm like, why am I giving so much energy? Like, am I
Yeah.
chasing this? Like, what am I
Mhm.
doing? I don't need to chase this, right? If it's meant to
Right.
be, for me,
Uh-huh.
then it will show up that way and then give it the energy. I don't need to chase the person or chase
Yes.
the thing or chase it.
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time chasing, I think, especially if you've grown up as a pleaser or
Mhm.
this need to earn whatever.
Mhm.
And there's a great deal like when you unlock that, it is incredibly enlightening. And then you see the pattern recognition in yourself as you get older
Yeah.
is the other,
Yeah.
right? Because it's a
Yeah.
pattern. You have to break patterns and you break them on an ongoing basis.
Mhm.
So that's really something that I have been witnessing, observing, practicing uh,
Yeah.
for
Don't
now
push something.
a
It's
while.
like stand in the river where the water's flowing, we don't have to push so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, all right. Lesson number 2, Lauren Douglas. Give it to us.
Yeah, I think I have to constantly remind myself that the path doesn't actually matter and that it's not linear and nobody
Mm.
else has it figured out. You always think like, "Oh, well this person did this 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 and it was all linear and they went to school and then they got this job and then went to business school and then they got this promotion and then like or whatever you think like the perfect path is." And like, "Oh, I don't measure up to that." And it's just like it doesn't like, no, every single person's path is different and there's no template for what is right or is wrong, and I think I just wasted a lot of time thinking like, "Well, what should I be doing?" Instead of, you know, focusing on, like, what was happening, what
Yeah.
was in front of my face, you know?
Yeah.
Um Liz Gilbert has this quote, "You can measure your worth by your dedication to your path, not by your successes or failures." So it's like, oh, like
Yeah.
the dedication to the path being a path and it's happening because it's happening and not like judging the successes or failures along the way.
Yeah. I think that's, um, very common. right? Is the truth, right? Like we've put a lot of pride as a society on being busy and productivity and earning the thing and getting there and working so hard. And so you have the goal
Yeah.
and you go for the goal. And then but you get to the
Yeah.
goal and you're like, what? Now what?
Yeah.
Right. And then there's sort of this anticlimactic experience with the goal. And then you're like, wait, now what's the next goal? Like, in order to
Right.
feel productive and purposeful, I need to be r- attending to that. That
It's
gives me
it's the
validation.
culture of ascension, you know?
Yeah, 1,000%. And it's a curiosity to see if that's really an American thing, right? Like, is that, are we living the American dream if we are in that wheel, which I think is slowly like breaking down, to be honest, right? The American dream is still alive and well, I think, in certain ways, but how it comes to life, the path is probably quite different now for a lot of people.
Yeah, but I definitely think it's American. It's like our center of gravity is definitely around ascension, earning, um, and, like, constantly, like, making more, being more, do the next thing, and I definitely think that Europe if has just and other countries just have a different way of looking at it than we do, you know?
Yeah. We have so much more exposure now as well, I think, right? Through social and through this need and this, we're seeing everyone's highlight reel all the time so
Mhm,
that we can be exposed to like what they are doing and how they
mhm.
have
What
done
they
it.
have.
And yeah, what
Mhm,
they have, and it's a very interesting conundrum because it's how do you break the cycle, right? Like in a world of more and more and more, how do you break that woulda, shoulda, coulda,
mhm,
the I need to be doing this in order to get that, I must
mhm.
do. Um,
Do
and I
you
think that's an
feel it at
ongoing thing.
school, like, with, like, other parents? Like, do you feel like it's I'm thinking of, like, did you watch Your Neighbors and Friends?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Your
we
Friends
yeah,
and
we talked
Neighbors?
about that. That was, like, one of our
Oh, yeah.
recommendations, I think, at one of
Right.
the Baths because I was like, "Absolutely, Your Friends and Neighbors, best show." Like, the
S
monologues are worth every ounce of attention.
right. And but, like, that idea of, like, one-upsmanship and whatever, like, do you feel that it's more pronounced with, like is because I don't have kids, so, like, is it more pronounced in the, like, when you have kids and you're competing against other parents and your kids are competing against their kids or I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a very that's a very personal question, right? Not personal, like, for me, like, but I think it I think we're all woven of different swaths of fabric, right? And
Mhm,
whatever the quilt looks like is probably
mhm,
how we show up, right? And I think that some people, it's almost like subconscious, right? They're not
mhm,
necessarily overtly competing, right? Or,
mhm.
but certainly what's around you becomes your sense of norm, right? Like
Right.
what's around you. If it's interesting. Like my third point was probably going to be around the importance of community that you surround yourself with, right? So,
Mhm,
in the progression of my three lessons, right, is the
mhm.
community. But the community is very influential, I think, subliminally and overtly, right? Because if your friends are all going to on some cool trip and you can't go on the trip because you can't afford it, what's the chance you're going to put yourself into some version of debt to go on the trip,
Right.
right? Or if
Yeah.
and in the spirit of
Mhm,
like having kids, right? The kid thing is, parents love their children. And
mhm.
ultimately, they want their children to be successful and to enjoy, you hope, right? And enjoy their lives, but also because we have so much awareness of what it takes to be competitive and we are set on this like path that we just discussed, everybody's busy, we're all putting our children into the positions that we believe will give them the best shot at the most, you know, amazing future, whatever that means for them. But it's interesting when you meet parents who have like invested so much in their kids and then their kids become like, something that they didn't desire or aspire for them to be and like, having very real conversations of like, well, they were passionate about this, so they chose to do that, but it is not going to be the lucrative opportunity that we saw for them.
Mhm.
Right? So, like, I've decided I wanna be I don't I'm scared to say any profession because I don't wanna discount anyone's profession, right? Or their choice of passion, pursuing their passion, right? So, but, like, you meet people who are like, "Oh my god, and now my kid's doing," like, trying to make it as a a comedian, right? Like, there's so many people, let's say, who wanna be comedians. How many people become very successful comedians? Not that many, right? But they're like, "But I invested all this money for my kid to go to private school and to do this and to try that and blah, blah, blah." And here they are trying. And God bless that person because they're probably gonna be way happier not having any regrets that they tried to
Mhm.
become a comedian,
Right.
right? But they're not fulfilling the dream of their parents had for them per se, in the way that, like, "Please don't move back into my house, and I hope that you also have grandkids and, like, have a job and, whatever." So, like, it's also how we're conditioned. We don't know another way sometimes in other than the way that you outlined before, right? Which is,
Mhm.
like, in what your friends and neighbors talks about. So, it's
Mhm.
interesting, like, I think some people might be competing against other parents, but I don't think that that is, like, an overt thing. I think it's more that you wanna be commiserate so that your children have the opportunity for the best life that you can give them while we have the opportunity to give it to them. And
Mhm.
everyone's doing their best job, whatever that looks like, from a paycheck to paycheck parent who's working all day and, like, doesn't get home until very late at night, to the parent who, has a million lessons for their kid and, like, the child is, like, gone from, dawn to dusk, or doing activities. Like,
Mhm.
it's really a personal reflection on, the parent is my sort of assessment,
Yeah.
you know?
Cool. Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
yeah. My 3rd lesson is really about the people you surround yourself with, community. I think I learned it first maybe at a young age, and then actually when I moved to Japan when I was 23, I was super lonely, and
Mm.
I made friends over there, which was
Mhm.
great. I didn't it struggled for me to find my place in, like, having tons of friends in college, right, to, like, having, like, 3 friends in Japan.
Mhm.
Um, all the way through life where you meet up most of your friends through work as you get older, then you meet them through being a parent. This is all these people are kind of constantly coming in and out, and I just planned my 3rd annual women's friendsgiving, which I did invite you
Nice.
to, even though you're in New York.
Nice.
Um, but, you know, I to me, I think community has become the greatest touchstone that I have in my life to keep me grounded, and no matter even if they don't even know they're doing it. I
Mhm.
think it's this reflection of community. Like, if I don't feel satisfied by my community professionally, I'm not as inspired and I'm more detached, which could lead me to burnout, right? If I'm not attached to my community that, even my friends that don't have, like you don't have children, but like you're a great touchstone for me in like keeping me like, I feel good. I feel inspired, makes me a better parent. Yeah, like, so the community of people that I choose to surround myself with, my sister, I don't know if she'd want me to share this, but I'm gonna share it because I'm proud of her. She is just did her first year in Gamblers Anonymous,
Mm.
one of my sisters. Um, and I'm so proud of her because it is really hard to do. And her community to do that with her is really important, right? Because if she went and
Yeah.
hung out at a bar where there was like video poker, right? It ran in my family. My grandparents,
Right.
had similar addiction. And but she needs that community in order to support her, right? And in the same way, we all need community to reinforce the things, the hopes, the dreams that we have for each other. You and I are doing that right now.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so I found that I'm really am deeply appreciating, even in leaving this, last job that I've had and starting this new venture, the enthusiasm and support from the community, my community of people that was not just attached to my role, it was attached to me, and that
Absolutely.
is
Yeah.
really, a profound sort of revelation for me right now, which is, I always knew it maybe, but, like, when you have these,
Yeah, I mean,
titles and whatnot.
you came in town last week and you had, like, 20 people show up at, like, a happy hour at 8:30. I was like, "I couldn't get 20 people in New York to show up at a happy hour at 8:30." And you don't even live here.
And I don't live here. Maybe that's why. Um, but
No, but
but
you're
I
very
I
good
love
at
that.
that, at, like, yeah, keeping your community going and, like, people feel that from you, and then they wanna, like, you know, be a part of it.
Show up, we hope.
Yeah, totally.
Um, so, okay, 3rd and final lesson.
Yes, I think I'm just starting to understand that um, the idea of money and wealth, have really changed my perspective on it. And I've started to really think that like wealth to me is about freedom. It's about options. It's about
Mhm.
who I spend my time with and like the richness of my relationships, the freedom that I have throughout my week to like pursue endeavors like this or meditation practice or a cycling team or whatever, right? Um and that like recently I was offered a job and I was just like,
Mm.
okay, well what's the trade-off between like the incremental like boost of money and the loss of like freedom and sort of this, this world that I'm building with this business that I'm building and things like that.
Mhm.
And I just decided like it wasn't ultimately like the right decision because I wasn't ready to make that trade-off. So that's I think my perspective on like wealth has changed a lot.
Yeah. I think your perspective on other things has changed a lot too. Like, sitting here
Yeah.
with you a year ago, right? We were having a different kind of conversation.
Mhm.
So, we were
Definitely.
writing a check against your future, right? Like,
Yeah.
you wrote the check and you
Yeah.
decided if you wanna, someone wrote you a check and you had to figure out if you wanted to cash it.
Right. Right. And the only payment was my freedom and my soul and I was like, "Yeah, it's not worth it."
Pretty significant, Raymond. It's pretty significant. So, sounds like you made the right choice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very happy for you. That's also very
Thanks.
grounding and empowering. Seem
Yeah.
peaceful. It seems you feel
Mm.
you look and seem peaceful.
Oh,
So, I'm
thanks.
happy for
I
you.
feel peaceful.
Good. You can tell. You can tell.
Thanks.
Comes through the screen.
Oh, thanks.
3,000 miles away.
3,000
Um,
miles apart.
all right. Well, should we I have one quote that sort of has
Yeah.
been has actually stuck with me. I've used it actually a lot in blogging and different things. And it's, I think, a beautiful one, which is, we must be willing to let go of the life we planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. Which is Joseph Campbell.
Yes. I love that.
And I think, in the spirit of all the things that we have talked about today, I think we make an awful lot of plans of what we think we should be doing or how we should be doing it or what should be happening to us, for us,
Mhm.
by who, etc. And
Mhm.
I would say the really big insight for me just generally is like the art of letting go of that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
The need to control, not the need to not the need to like still dream and aspire and do and all the things, but by letting go, you can start to really create more of a disciplined approach to how you show up and live your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually reading this book called The Surrender Experiment.
Ooh, I
We can talk
love.
about it some other time, but the
Yeah.
idea, this guy basically is like, I'm surrendering to the universe, and like, if it comes between the two choices, like I'm just gonna let the universe decide for me. And he does it throughout his whole life. It's kind of a crazy story. He ends up like starting this tech company that was acquired by WebMD for like $2.5 billion, but just like accidentally like found his way.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I've been really inspired by that lately because I've just been like, oh yeah, just forego all your attachment to the idea that you
Yeah.
have of your pathway and just let your pathway be your pathway.
I love that. I'm definitely gonna read that, and maybe we need to get the author on this podcast to talk us
Yeah,
through
maybe.
it.
He's pretty old, but maybe he'd do it.
You know what? Maybe he would do it. That would be
Maybe
so
he would.
sweet. I love that. I'm writing this post on legacy that I have been terrified to publish because it's got something that feels uncomfortable to me in it.
Mhm.
But it's all about legacy. And, one of the people that's still alive in the legacy that I talk about is Warren Buffett. And I think, you know what? Maybe we're part of his legacy to bring this surrender experiment to all of our
Our
listeners,
generation. Yeah, I
our
love that.
generation,
I
our
love that.
generation. Well, wonderful to see you, and thank you to everyone for listening. Oh, we didn't need to do our open door of the week. I'm so sorry. I fast forwarded.
Um,
What is your
okay,
open
open
door?
door of the week is, um, I'm feeling very, like, autumnal in the sense of, like, autumn is, like, a time for kind of slowing down, and the leaves are changing, and, um, the creatures are preparing for winter, and I'm feeling that same way, and just sort of I'm slowing down, and so I think that's my open door.
I love the idea of slowing down. That's
Mhm.
wonderful. Um, and sort of nesting. I'm like
Mhm.
a little bit nesting myself right now, which
Yeah.
I am really enjoying. Um, I think it sounds super funny, but like one of the things I'm really enjoying is AI is my collaborator.
Okay. I love that.
um,
That's not
as
silly,
an
that's amazing.
well, it's funny, like it's this like fusion part, right? Of like a collaborator. Last night I was practicing grammar and punctuation with my 12-year-old, right? So I said to her, I'm like, ChatGPT is our collaborator, Mia. But also, this post that I was a little worried about, like I put it through, some AI discipline to be like, what are some flashpoints? What can I expect in terms of any sort of uh, um, thoughts, opinions, etc. Right? And we did a couple different takes on it because our friends in AI can be so supportive and warm.
I know, it's like, "Great idea, you're a
Yeah,
genius."
you're so amazing. Uh, but like this kind of this collaborator notion, and really as a way to not not make me more productive, but to help slow me down and make me better in the way that I show up for myself in the things that are important to me.
Mm,
And so that was something that I am thinking of as an open door for other areas that I am passionate about and excited about.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
So
Alright, should we leave it?
let's leave it. So
Thanks for listening, everybody, and
thank
catch
you.
us next time on Open Doors.
On Open Doors. And please feel free to listen, share this with a friend if you
Yes, share it with
feel
a
that,
friend.
or a family member or a coworker. If you found it valuable, find us on all the socials because we will be getting active. And we're excited about that. And also feel free to,
Like us
make
and
notes,
subscribe.
subscribe,
Yeah,
like us, and
rate us.
also leave some comments if there are things that you want to hear us talk about and explore, or people that you think we should interview. We are very open to that as well. All right, Lauren.
Cool.
Well, so good to see you.
Alright, see
All
you
right.
soon.
See you soon. Okay. Bye.